Round 3. Daddy. My father was an alcoholic who started out as varsity, star wrestler and respected player on both his high school and college football teams. He married my mother when she got pregnant and went on to sire 4 more children. He did real well for a while, working diligently as a construction engineer, an architect, a contractor, a builder. He was a member of the secret society of Masons and was learned in the biblical interpretations of stone cutting and right angles. He wasn't even 30 years old when he designed a home for our family. He had a big white house built on top of a hill in Littleton and moved us out of our little tract home in southeast Denver. He was a man with a vision, perhaps realized too soon. He had achieved the American ideal, and as a family we enjoyed all that suburbia had to offer. Beyond the affluence that we enjoyed because of my father's achievements, we were exposed to miles and miles of wheat fields, open grasslands, and scattered tree-sheltered ponds. The freedom of being raised more or less in the country was a favorable enhancement to the master plan. Our parents hosted many gatherings at the big house. Once the seeded lawn had grown in thick and handsomely, backyard barbecues were always enjoyable and festive, offering up an array of people for the children to observe and bother and sponge attention from. We children often opted to disappear, enjoying the freedom from adult supervision. After all, the country fresh air and the liquor they drank put our elders at ease for a while. The cocktail parties were most entertaining. They were blue bonnet displays of American pretension. These early evening affairs were when we children got caught up on all the neighborhood and daddy's business gossip. The adults sipped martinis with olives until they were slushed. It wasn't hard to see who was eyeing whom, married or not. False eyelashes fluttered flirtatiously, and hand met hand in the mixed nut silver platters lying around. "Go to bed," commanded my father when he caught us kids sneaking about. In reference to our parents' masquerading friends, we would chide, "Fakey, fakey, fakey," under our breaths and giggle all the way up the stairs to our rooms, where we would reconvene. I used to stay awake at night, alone in my little girl bedroom, with the candy ribbon carpeting on the floor, and listen to Sabra and Deanna's music coming from down the hall. These bedtime lullabies included the famous Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini and very popular Johnny Angel. I would lie in bed kind of sad and lonely and dreamy, wondering how my 7-year-old body would look in a polka dot bikini, and if Johnny Angel could ever hold me tight enough. There were nights when I slept with my sister Geneva, and she would read me her favorite story, The Little Match Girl, a selection from a collection of Andersen's fairy tales. Geneva would read it and we would cry, sisters sharing shoulders, wondering why the little match girl had to die and why had all the rich people just passed her by. It was a lot to ponder for 2 kids in the night who did not know how impoverished and deprived so many of the world's children were. Because we had a full freezer, bonanza on Sunday evening, and a father and mother to tuck us in and kiss us good night. We adorned the house with Betty Crocker spirit during the holidays, and overabundance of abundance met us Christmas mornings. I remember feeling overwhelmed by the presents. We had the essence of the Nutcracker Sweet family, with everything just so. We really were a manifestation of the American ideal. 5 children, still in their jammies, surrounded by presents, all wrapped up by Santa's elves. We were raring to rip into the colorful pile of plenty under the tree, and ready to get our hands into our home-knit stockings, which hung from an elaborately decorated Yuletide mantle above the fireplace. All this splendorous stuff was just for us. We just had to wait until morning came. During these holiday affairs, the women dressed impeccably in pearls and tailored suits. The Jackie O's of Colorado were so meticulous in their dress code and skilled at staying thin, I was sure I could never grow up to be one of them. Their mannerisms were already generationally foreign to me. These refined and composed women would come over with their well-groomed families, standing around picturesquely, at times only to watch the men watch what was still a new phenomenon, football on TV. I had a daddy then, I remember vividly. He danced with all my sisters across the living room floor. In a grand expression of manhood, he would have them grip their bare feet tight on top of his and encourage them to relax into his shoulder while he waltzed and tangoed and did the samba with all the gallantry and grace of a king. He knew all about chubby checkers and beatniks and Rudies. He would grab my oldest sister Sabra's hand as she sat lined up in front of the fireplace like a rare lady in waiting, along with my other sisters. Once Daddy and Sabra hit the carpeted floor, things really came alive. He taught her to shake so uninhibitedly that to this day, Sabra can out-twist any twister easily. Although it was only a spin around the living room carpet with their father, my sisters squirmed in anticipation of their turn. He used to sing songs loudly, especially in the car. It made going to the drive-in movies more fun, because he would sing verse after verse after verse of his favorite songs in order to entertain us going to and from. I missed out on the dancing. I was just a little too young and too shy. By the time I was ready to start dancing, by the time I had mustered up enough courage to be one of Daddy's little girls, Daddy'd been taken to the hospital for shock treatments because his drinking was too bad. One day, his business partners brought him home singing. He sang all the way up the stairs. I followed him curiously. He was slurring his words. I asked him, "Daddy, what's wrong?" His partners answered that I should go away. Daddy doesn't feel so good today. I just chalked up Daddy's mysterious behavior in my 8-year-old head to one more adult secret that had to be buried. Daddy didn't stand a chance really, because perpetual forces were against him. The familial cycle of addiction had yet to be severed.